from that very first day, parallels always have been drawn with Tottenham. When you look at events at Spurs over in recent weeks, and we've had confirmation this morning their director of football has resigned, do you look at the stability behind the scenes of your club, and is that reassuring compared to others? Because the Premier League is a pretty turbulent place at the moment in terms of ownership, managers, everything. Do you feel as if you're one of the more settled clubs?
I never comment on another football club. I can only comment on this one. And I'd say we have been stable. We have been really well run from above. I'd say there's been a clarity in terms of what we can and can't do. There's been a vision. And the hard bit then is to try and carry all that out day to day. But that stability and that trust has enabled us to, in the time that we've been here, be successful. And yeah, it's rare to, I think, have that stability at a Premier League football club because the pressures that you're working in are so high. But hopefully that can remain for as long as possible.
Thank you.
Luke?
Firstly, congratulate you on your steadfast refusal to say compete for European football.
Thank you, Luke. I appreciate that greatly.
I admire it a lot.
I appreciate your words.
Thank you. Did your team, in a funny way, I know this may seem an odd thing to say, did it kind of need that Aston Villa performance and result to be reminded of what it needs to do to be successful?
Yeah, I don't know if I never need reminding because of my journey to get here, both as a player and as a manager. Maybe I'd never say that's a good thing because we don't ever want those types of performances. But sometimes when you can reflect back in months and weeks ahead and go, that may have been a good thing for us, but time will tell. So it's always about how you respond and what lessons you learn from it, really. That's how I'd probably view that.
And this is a kind of new experience for a lot of these players because you are at the top end of the Premier League and you're performing under pressure now. How confident are you that they are mentally strong enough, this group, to deal with that?
Well, all season I've seen a group that has been very strong mentally, tested in lots of different ways, loads of different experiences, cut run, Premier League form. Yeah, there's such pressure at this level. They've responded really well to it. So I don't see any signs that the squad's not coping with that. I see a lot of experience as well helping to drive the team through in key moments. So I think we're equipped. I think we have what we need, and we just have to show that on the pitch.
And you've got the fans behind you, which is really the kind of, we talk about it, people from perhaps outside the region don't quite understand that energy they give you when you're playing at home.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing, and I think can't underestimate its power and its importance. We certainly don't. You know, a united crowd, I think, when we came to the football club, was one of the most important things, if not the most important thing we needed to do. We needed to get a link between the team and the supporters because we needed to make St James's Park a feared place to come. I think our early performances helped do that. We've generated a really good momentum at home, and the key thing is to try and keep it from both sides.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oscar?
And it seemed a bit of a loss to explain exactly what went wrong at Aston Villa immediately after the game. On reflection, was it worse than you thought at the time?
What, the performance?
Yeah.
No, I think when I watched it back, I didn't think it was as usually the case. I think when you're experiencing the game, watching it live, I think you associate negativity around your emotion when you're watching when you don't perform well, and I think it's the same when you watch it back and you think you've played really well, and you're watching, we weren't as good as I thought. So both ways usually are not as high as you expect or as low as you expect, and it was certainly the case. I don't think we were as bad as maybe my initial assessment, but certainly we weren't ourselves.
So you were in a terrible mood on Monday. You said your reaction to your players would be based on how you felt coming to
no, I was in a terrible mood. But, well, terrible mood, but tried to hide it.
Simon?
Yeah, just a quick check on Bruno and his ankle. He looked a bit off it on Saturday, and it was labouring a little bit. Are you addressing his energy situation or his ankle situation, or can he manage it for the rest of the season?
Bruno's ankle's fine. There's no issue with his ankle. He's training well normally. He's not missing training. He's not, covering a problem. So there's no issues with his fitness.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Kieran?
I think we saw a player last week booed off when he came off elsewhere in the Premier League. We've seen some teams fragment when they have a bad defeat. How important is the togetherness you have here at all levels?
Yeah, it's hugely important because I think it's when you have a disappointing moment that you're truly tested, really, as a person and as a squad, as a team member. How you react in that moment, you need to. I would say we need to try and act the same way, whether we're winning or whether we're losing. Very easy to say, very hard to actually deliver. One of the really important characteristics of our team is I do think there's that support for each other. While you have to recognise if you don't perform at the same time, so you have to be accountable. You have to, take constructive criticism in the right way, and then as soon as sort of that you're digesting the defeat, you move on. You have to move on very quickly in football. So by the time we were training again, all the focus was on Tottenham, not on Aston Villa, and I think, touch wood, to this moment, we've responded really well.
Your record against your fellow competitors has got a lot better this season. Did you take a lot of relief from the reverse fixture in Tottenham? I think that was a big moment.
Yeah, I think you always take confidence from those types of wins, especially away from home. Gives you even more confidence. I thought we were excellent that day. But that game will mean nothing to this one. This is a totally different... I think we've developed, hopefully, from that day. Tottenham under a different manager now, so I think it's a totally different game, but one we look forward to.
Lee? Eddie, a lot of people spoke about the defence after the Villa defeat and said it's time for a change in the defence. What's your view on that? You've already mentioned in the past that you're quite happy with that settled back four. Do you expect that to continue, or is it time for a change, as people have suggested?
Well, I think that's a complex answer to that one. I'll always pick a settled defence if I believe that's the best defence to win the next game. I've got no problem changing it. I just don't want to make wholesale changes week in, week out, and then lose the balance and the solidity that a settled back four gives you. So I've got no problem with change. But you have to believe the change is the right thing and the right moment to make that change. This back four, who's played the majority of the season together, have been outstanding for us. Our defensive record is very good. Does one bad day constitute a change? I don't know. I'll have to make that call.
Dan Burn obviously has stayed in the team. He's kept people like Jamal Lewis out. He's kept Paul Dummer out. So I guess he's already showed his credentials throughout the season.
Yeah, Dan Burn's an incredible player, in my opinion, and an incredible person. And I think what he gives you sometimes you can't measure. They're very similar to Sean. Similar type of qualities that he brings the team. As I say, sometimes not measurable what those types of players can give you, and the strength they can give you in certain moments. So we really value Dan very highly in whatever position he plays, and that his versatility is important for us as well.
Anthony Gordon come back into the team at Villa, to some people's surprise, but is it a case of getting him to channel what he brings you in exactly the right way?
Yeah, we want all that passion and that enthusiasm and that drive that he has to help develop himself and improve his game. And I'd say for 99% of the time here, that's what he's done. If you see him day to day, he's a great person, driven, as I said, to improve. So he's one of the hardest working members of the squad. He's out working on his game regularly, and he's fiercely determined to do well. So all the qualities of a top player, and for me, he has the ability to be that as well. So he's yet to really display that, I think, here, but I'm sure he will in the future.
If you take that spark away from certain players, you're left with half the players sometimes. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely right, and you can't change people's characters, and I wouldn't want to. So he's had a half-decent career to this point. So there's loads more to come from him. I'm really excited about him in the Newcastle shirt in the future.